The 5 Gems of the Frontier.
Hey everyone, don't forget to smash that subscribe button for more exploring the American frontier.
Red Hawk, you know that Tonto and I ride for justice.
A life in the wilderness of the western frontier was a daily ritual for survival. Surviving the harsh elements of the land was a full-time job, with constant rigorous preparation for daily adventures, and around every square inch of tract of land your feet stood upon, something was out to kill, eat, or maim your very existence. But for the mountain man, the irresistible thrill of the nomad, land-dwelling lifestyle that encompassed the trappers' excursions was enough to push them towards the promise of fortune and notoriety. Often, this was to become a way to settle debts and wipe a clean slate on the new campaign out west. But for history, it's told a few men can hold a marble in the sacks of these notable frontier legends. And for one thing is sure, if you wanted to become part of frontier history, you have a better shot at making folklore tales when your name is Jim. Today, we are going to talk about the 5 mountain men named Jim who terraformed the landscape and cartographed the maps of America on paper and in our minds on this episode of Exploring the American Frontier. The top 5 Jims to explore the frontier. Let's check it out. Jim Baker. Jim Baker, known as Honest Jim Baker,
Hello, I'm Honest Jim.
was a frontiersman, trapper, hunter, army scout, interpreter, and rancher. He was first a trapper and hunter. The decline of the fur trade in the early 1840s drove many trappers to quit, but Baker remained in the business until 1855. On August 21st, 1841, he was among a group of 23 trappers who were attacked by Arapaho, Cheyenne, and Sioux on what became known as... After Henry Frabb was killed, Baker organized the trappers against the Native Americans in a multi-day fight. While he was a trapper, he developed expertise as a guide, leader, marksman, and interpreter with Native Americans. He operated a ferry and trading post along the Green River. He served the military as a tracker and guide, including during the Mormon-Utah War, following the Meeker Massacre, and during the Battle of Rosebud in present-day Bighorn County, Montana. He had at least 3 Native American wives and 14 children. He homesteaded on what is now Clear Creek near Denver on July 3rd, 1859. The area became known as Baker's Crossing, and he established several businesses there. He raised cattle, operating a stone coal mine, a toll bridge on the Denver-Boulder Wagon Road, and a store operated by his 2 wives. In 1873, Baker built a cabin with a guard tower near the Little Snake River in Wyoming, where he raised livestock until his death in 1898. His cabin is currently on display at Little Snake River Museum in Savory, Wyoming. Baker's grave is marked with a stone at Baker Cemetery near Savory. James Clyman. James Clyman was born on a farm that belonged to George Washington in Farquhar County, Virginia in 1792. Clyman's father started to do a lot of migrating around when Clyman was 15, moving from Virginia to Pennsylvania and then to Ohio. In 1811, his family decided to settle in Stark County, Ohio. In 1812, Clyman became a ranger to fight the Shawnee Indians in the War of 1812. After fighting the Indians, he decided to become a farmer in Indiana, where he also traded with local Indians. By 1821, he was a surveyor working near the Little Vermilion River in Illinois. He was hired by a son of Alexander Hamilton, who was running government surveys, to make travels along the Sangamon River. While collecting his pay in St. Louis in 1823, he met William H. Ashley and joined Ashley's 1823 expedition. Clyman was with Ashley's men from 1823 to 1827.
He fought the Arikara Indians in the Arikara War in 1823.
He also traveled with Jedediah Smith and Thomas Fitzpatrick in the discovery of the South Pass. He also was a member of the party of four that paddled around the Great Salt Lake and put to rest the myth of the Buenaventura River. After his explorations, he bought a farm near Danville, Illinois, and also set up a store there. Then, the Black Hawk War broke out, and Clyman joined the fight. After the war, he traveled back west and crossed the Great Salt Lake Desert in the Sierra Nevada. On his way back, he met the Donner Reed Party and accompanying parties and advised them to avoid this shortcut and remain on the regular route instead. They did not heed his warning and ended up cannibalizing many members of their parties after reaching the Sierra Nevada. In 1848, Clyman settled in the Napa Valley. He died there in 1881 and was buried in the Tula Cay Cemetery in Napa, California. James Beckworth. Jim Beckworth was an African American who played a major role in the early exploration and settlement of the American West. Although there were many people and races and nationalities on the frontier, Beckworth was the only African American who recorded his life story, and his adventures took him from the Everglades of Florida to the Pacific Ocean and from southern Canada to northern Mexico. In 1823, Beckworth joined the expedition of General William H. Ashley's Rocky Mountain Fur Trading Company, which penetrated the western wilderness. He left Ashley's expedition in 1825 and went to live among the Indians in the Crow Nation for 6 years. The Crows made him a chieftain and called him Bull's Robe. Beckworth became a mighty warrior and took part in their tribal wars, and according to Beckworth, he lifted the scalp of many of enemy. In 1837, he grew tired of the savage life, returning to civilization, and established 2 trading posts. During this time period, Beckworth helped in the founding of a town called Pueblo, Colorado. He later fought in the Seminole War in 1842 and the California Revolution in 1846. In 1848, while traveling with his wife Louisa Sandoval, Beckworth met General John C. Fremont and became his chief scout. On this expedition, he made a discovery that should forever secure him a place in Western history. In 1850, in the Sierra Nevada, Beckworth found an important and safer pass that led pioneers and gold seekers to the fields of California, now called Beckworth's Pass. There, he built a ranch and trading post. He died in early October of 1866 of mysterious causes while visiting the Crow Indians along the Bighorn River. Jim Bowie. Known for his famous Bowie knife, and sometimes being a reckless adventurer, Jim Bowie is now immortalized as one of the true folk heroes on the early frontier. Bowie was born in Kentucky in 1796. While still very young, he moved with his family first to Missouri, then in 1802 to Louisiana, where he spent most of his youth. It was there that he first acquired a reputation for his bold and fearless disposition. In 1827, Bowie participated in a bloody brawl near Natchez, Mississippi, where several men were killed and Bowie was wounded. After recovering the following year, he moved to Texas. Before the revolution in Texas, Bowie took part in many adventures. He spent considerable time cultivating friendships with Indians in his search for elusive silver and gold, reported to be hidden in the interior of Texas. By some accounts, he is said to have found the fabled San Saba mines also known as the Bowie mines, near the geographic center of present-day Texas. In the Texas Revolution, Bowie was a leading participant at the Battle of Concepcion and in the grass fight near San Antonio. He was in command of a volunteer force in San Antonio when William Travis arrived with regular army troops. The two men shared authority during much of the siege of the Alamo, which caused some personal friction, but pneumonia disabled Bowie, and he was confined to his cot at the time of his death on March 6, 1836, at the Battle of the Alamo. Jim Bridger. The son of a surveyor and an innkeeper, Bridger moved with his family to St. Louis in 1818. There, Bridger apprenticed as a blacksmith, learned to handle boats, and became a good shot and skilled woodsman. When the William H. Ashley Fur Trading Company advertised for enterprising young men to travel the Missouri River to trade with local tribes, Bridger was among the first to respond, and he was hired in 1822. Though he lacked much formal education, Bridger demonstrated a brilliant ability for finding his way and surviving in the wilderness. As part of the Ashley expedition, he helped construct the first fur trading post on the Yellowstone River. At the age of 21, Bridger became the first white man to have seen the Great Salt Lake, though he mistakenly thought it was the Pacific Ocean at the time. He was adept at learning Native American dialect and culture, and he had tremendous ability to memorize geographical detail. For several years, Bridger worked as an independent trapper, and in 1830, he joined with 3 partners to gain control of the Rocky Mountain Fur Company. Yet, by 1840, Bridger had grown tired of the nomadic trapper life. He was convinced that the emigrant traffic through the West had become heavy enough to support a trading post. He founded Fort Bridger along the Green River section of the Oregon Trail in present-day southern Wyoming. In 1850, he married the daughter of a Shoshone chief, and thereafter he and his bride, whom he called Mary, divided their time between summers at Fort Bridger and winters with the Shoshone. In 1853, members of the Mormon Church, resenting the competition from Bridger's fort, tried to arrest him as an outlaw. He escaped into the mountains with Mary and his children, but a band of Latter-day Saints burnt and gutted the fort, destroying all his supplies. Concerned for his family's safety, Bridger bought a farm near Westport, Missouri, where he left Mary and the children during all of his subsequent western journeys. He sold Fort Bridger in 1858 and spent the next decade working as a guide and Army scout in the early Indian Wars. By 1868, Bridger's eyesight was failing, and he increasingly suffered from rheumatism. He retired to his Westport farm, where he cared for his apple trees. He died at the age of 77 on July 17, 1881. The tales of the frontiersmen are often lost in the shadows of history. Bold men who faced everyday challenges to survive and build a legacy of trails and pathways others would follow for years to come. If you like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Subscribing helps others see videos like this and helps me create more content from the frontier. And as always, get out there and explore. Thanks, guys.